Good morning, and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question to the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
It's Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. My name is Joe Callahan, and that guy over there in the green sweater is Bob Lauder. And good morning to you, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Nice to have you here with us.
I understand you're on Santa's naughty list.
Why is that, Bob?
I'm
a wonderful
you
person.
start some kind of a riot in a store over a line?
You're such a good lawyer.
Oh, yeah?
You take the facts and just completely explode it. I didn't start a riot. I voiced my opinion to a certain individual who was trying to cut the line,
and Santa,
and I was right.
Santa, dropped you a few decades down on the list. Okay.
Well, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I
That's
get
fine?
I get a smaller lump of coal and usually than the 10-pound one I get.
No, it's going to
They
be
cut it down to 2?
Larger amount of, you can start heating your house with coal from now on. Jeez, man. A riot in a waiting line
Riot?
in
What are
a
you talking
store.
about? I think the people behind me were very happy with my statements.
Okay.
We were also waiting in line patient. We were all waiting nice and patiently. There was no ruckus, and but if you try to cut the line, especially at Christmas time, when there's a bunch of us there, you're gonna get the wrath.
You must have been a load of fun in the cafeteria at college. I mean, people cut the line there all the time.
I never saw that. When I
They
went
were
to college.
afraid
No.
to in front of you. Whoa!
That's my meatloaf. No, I never saw that in college. I like the way it was different. Kohl's does it differently than like Walmart or
They
or
make you
Target
pay when you
does it.
leave. Yes.
Well, yeah, that's true. But Target, Walmart, you pick your line you want to go into.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. Or you can even go into the self-checkout. That's fine. But Kohl's does it different. They stand over there, and we'll call you over to a register that's open. All right.
I admire
I like that.
I admire the fact that you know enough about Christmas to have actually started buying things, because I don't know what anybody in my
I know
life wants.
You always come down to
And,
December 24th, and just go with gift cards, Bob. Easy enough for you.
Nah.
So look who's joined us at the Coffee
Yes,
Inn table
good morning,
right
Your
over
Honor.
here to our right. It is the mayor, Chris Beauchamp, has joined us. Hi, Chris.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Now, you want to hear a funny story about Bob?
Sure.
This is a
Oh,
funny,
no.
and this just happened a couple of days ago. We're down at Post 85 doing our celebrity bartender for the Milk Fund kind of thing. Now, Bob is a little bit, if you don't know Bob, do you know Bob?
I don't.
Okay. Bob's a little bit left on the political spectrum.
I like Bob already.
Always has been,
Thank you.
and that's the way it is. And that's fine. And that's just the way he is. Now, we're down there with a bunch of vets who tend to be a little bit to the right normally. So there's a man, one of the vets that's down there, having himself a good time. He is wearing a bright red Trump hat. White letters, big red hat, Trump, baseball hat. I said, okay, but he's having fun, and they're not talking to each other. They're just everyone's having a good time. So I decide I'm gonna stir the pot here. So I go to Bob, and I say, Bob, I'm gonna take $20 out of my pocket, and I'm gonna put it in the Milk Fund bottle. If you wear that man's Trump hat for 10 minutes, don't just put it on and take it right off. 10 minutes. Bob thinks about it, and then pulls $20 out of his own wallet, puts $20 in the Milk Fund bottle, $20 not to wear it.
I would have done the same thing, Bob.
I got suckered on that, but okay.
Well, I didn't expect you to do that. I thought a polite no thank you was coming, but
I couldn't, stiff the milk fund for the $20.
that was funny. So we all got, everyone got what they wanted, except maybe Bob.
It's all good.
It was a great time. Although, I got
was
to
a good
wonder
time.
about some things in my life,
Like
because
what?
I've never been to that place before.
All right.
And when I go in with my wife to this bar, everybody says, "Hi, Gene. Nice to see you back."
They all know her.
So, okay, what's really going on in the world?
A
I made that up.
few questions asked afterwards, right?
Good morning to
Nice
the
to-
lady who was on the front page of the paper.
Oh, you're kidding.
Today?
Yeah, no.
that was yesterday.
Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry.
It was all part of the Circle Lauria
My bad.
beer and dynamite fundraiser for
Yes.
the Milk Fund. You were in the front page there.
Great picture
So,
in
yeah.
color, above the fold.
Above
Hey,
the fold. Hey, I've been making it above the fold for, good Lord, 29 years. This month.
Wow.
Wow.
Good for you.
Well, because I did the Milk Fund 29 years ago.
Right, as chairman.
Yep.
Okay,
I was
chairperson.
6 months pregnant,
Wow.
and I was above the fold like every other day.
Yeah.
You know
All
the
right.
mayor, don't you?
Yes, of
Okay,
course.
great.
How are you?
See you again.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Good.
I know you sat down, Sue, but it is time for your first message
Oh,
from
for the love
the
of
Blackstone Valley Call-in Times. If you can put something quickly together.
Oh, you know I do that every week. Good morning, everybody. Today is, I believe, the last day to enter our stocking stuffer giveaway. So I have been, collecting the gift certificates from our customers, our advertisers, and sponsors. And but like I said, today's the last day, so we will be drawing the name. And once we call you, I will connect with you, as long as it's locally, a local winner, to get you your prize. Call me. You can call me for any other needs, whether it's legal advertising, obituaries, classified advertising from a customer perspective. You can reach me on my cell phone at 401-487-4136.
All right, Sue, thank you very much. We're going to get to the mayor in just a minute. Just a couple of things going on. We had the shooting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Just a bizarre case because the suspect, who is dead, they say is a college professor, but not necessarily a college professor at that college.
Exactly.
Weird. So more on that will be coming out. I guess the others that died, were they students at UNLV?
I don't know. I haven't
No.
read the article.
Okay, I know they stopped him. He was heading towards like a quad area or a building because it was almost lunchtime, so he was going for more, where a lot of the students gathered. So heads up to the either the UNLV, their own security, or the police department in Vegas that put a stop to this. So good for that. That it got it. The murders were down to as little as possible, I guess. And right closer here to us here in Woonsocket, down at McCoy Stadium, the mayor. Chris, you don't have these kind of problems like Don Gravian, but the mayor down there in Pawtucket said, "All right, forget this guy that wants to save McCoy Stadium. We're knocking it down." He came in, we gave him a tour. We haven't heard back from him. Goodbye. So they went back to knocking it down and putting a consolidated high school where McCoy Stadium is. My personal thoughts on this was the real estate guy that came in and took a look around when he got his tour of McCoy Stadium and the shambles that it's in. He's seeing dollar signs, and this thing's going to be a lot more expensive than I originally intended. So
Right.
So rather than actually back out, if we just don't do anything, the city has done exactly what, and we don't look like the bad guy saying, "Oh, we're not going to do it now." The city said, "Well, they turned against us, and they're going to move forward with their other plans." So,
Did they ever
you go.
identify who this millionaire was?
oh, he's got a name, yeah.
Okay.
Soliev. Soliev is.
Well,
is
last
his
time we
name.
talked about it, remember they hadn't identified him.
They know who he is, and they said we haven't heard from him. It's like he's fell off the face of the earth. So we have to move forward. If we want to get a high school up and going, we got to knock this whole thing down. So they're moving forward with that. Glad you don't have his problems, Chris.
We got problems, but not maybe on that scale.
Right. So, but first question for you, Chris, Mayor of the City of Woonsocket. You've been there. Have you been there a month now?
A little short of a month.
Just short of a month. Okay. What do you like about it, and what don't you like about it?
Well, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, as you can probably imagine.
Big learning curve.
But I like dealing with people.
Okay.
And the people at City Hall have been great. The directors, the staff.
Mm-hmm.
I've introduced myself. We had a little meet and greet at the beginning for people that did not know me, but most people knew me.
Mm-hmm.
From my council time and living in the city and whatnot. And so it's been good. The people have been very receptive. The former mayor and I are still very good friends. I do occasionally reach out to her just to make sure she's doing okay, and we all hope she is and pray for her. And she's done a lot of good things for the city of Woonsocket. It was unfortunate what happened, and I took over based on conversations with some directors, and we're going to move forward and do what we can to make the city the best place it can be.
All right. Is Lisa's health in check? Everything okay?
She seems to be going to see people that she needs to see, which is good because it's in the short time I've been here, it's a very challenging, stressful job. And
Yeah.
so she did it for 10 years, 24/7, and she did a lot of great things. And I can see why sometimes you forget to do the things you have to do health-wise to make sure that you're where you should be. So
All right.
I just wish her the best, and hopefully that she gets those things checked out and is in good shape.
How's it working out between your other full-time job and now this full-time job?
Well, my full-time job has been cut.
Okay.
I only work 20 hours a week there. I go there very early in the morning and stay till 10, 11 o'clock,
All right.
then come to City Hall. Some days I come to City Hall first and do that possibly later, and some days I don't go there at all. So they've been very good. They knew that this transition was happening.
Yeah.
They read the news, and we've been discussing it. So they've been very amenable to me doing what I have to do to be at City Hall and do the city business.
All right. Now, speaking of city business, right off the bat, the big story over the past week was that the YMCA is closing at the end of December, effective January 1st. So where does the city stand in terms of using the facilities that'll be vacant after January 1st?
Yeah, it was kind of a shock to me too. I didn't know anything about it,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. I guess the former mayor, Lisa Bordelli Hunt, did have some conversations with the director, Jeff. He actually came to my office yesterday. We set up something last week. Once I found out about it, we had a very nice conversation yesterday. We do have some plans. We have a meeting Monday. We do have some plans with some people that I think we can possibly save the pool. The building itself, I think, is under a letter of intent from a developer.
Oh,
The whole Y is, actually. I won't disclose who that is just yet, but we are meeting with him, the Y, myself, and some other parties on Monday. And I think we're going to hopefully come to a resolve to save the pool, at least temporarily, and then maybe look in the future what we can do. Because as a youngster, I used to go to the Y when I was in high school. My grandfather, Captain Leo Gotts, who had been in the city a long time, and we went in that pool every day, and we loved it. Not the pool at the post office, but the original pool.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of great memories of it. So I'm going to do whatever I can to hope at least save the pool, because from what I understand, the financial aspect, the Y was losing a ton of money every year, the Woonsocket Y.
I saw that too.
And I think 80% of it was attributed to the building and the membership and that type of stuff, not so much the pool.
Right.
So I think we're going to have every conversation I can have to save the pool.
All right.
Rehab facility would be good there. Aquatic therapy, physical therapy, you've got the space, you've got the rooms, you've got, it's designed for, working out, so that it's heaviness. I know the word I'm looking for and I can't think of it, in the construction aspect of it. Like you can't just take, certain
Yeah.
equipment and put it in an apartment because it's not designed for that. That would be a great spot for that.
And the Y, talking to Jeff Mirage, the director, the Y does a great job with the aquatics and running the pool and what they
Right.
do. I talked to Dr. Nugent. He came to my office. He goes there every day. I didn't know any of the board members. I knew former board members like Doug Brown. I reached out to him. So there's a lot of sentiment that we got to do what we have to do to keep the pool at least. And that's my main focus, and we're going to see what happens Monday, but I feel good about it.
And try to keep it or open it up to more of the residents of Woonsocket?
Yeah. There was a girl that came to the council meeting. I think she, kind of runs some of the pool, high schools that use the pool, Mount St. Charles. A couple other people have their meets there, and their meets go into the end of January, I think sometime into February, maybe a little bit. So where do they go?
That's right,
So,
yeah.
I mean, we can't just abandon it. And not to mention the human aspect of, closing the Y and people losing their jobs at Christmas time, right? I mean, there's a lot of components here that I'm going to do everything in my power to try to prevent.
I'm glad it's so quick that an independent realtor has already reached out and said, "Hey, I'm interested in buying the whole thing right away."
Yeah,
Instead
it's-
of waiting around and waiting around. And
No,
waiting around.
that's been in the works for a little while, and again, I met with them, and so I believe we're going to be able to hammer something out in the short term. Long term, it's going to take a little bit more dialogue and conversation, and due diligence. But I'm very hopeful.
All right.
Well, the older building, the built in 1910 on Federal Street, that seems to be in really good condition too. The weight room on the top floor, it has new equipment and it's well kept and looks good. The basketball court looks good.
Yeah, but Bob, I hear you. I played basketball there for 20, 30 years. I mean, it's great for youth sports and stuff like that. But when we played there, there were limitations. Obviously, with the track above it and stuff, it was a unique court, if you will, right? But I think, talking to the director, the biggest challenge was getting membership and getting some kind of revenue there that could sustain that type of building. The other thing somebody said to me, which I never really thought of, there's no truck traffic that goes through there because of the overpass, right? And now we still see trucks that go down Main Street and glide chains and don't
they
take
hit
a
it.
right and they hit that overpass.
Yeah.
So there's a potential if somebody bought that gets eliminated, and who knows. So there are some possible positives coming out of this. And again, somebody that's looking to buy that, I don't know what they're going to do with it, but we're short on housing. We're short on affordable housing. So that may be an option that, as you said, the bones of the place is unbelievable. It's been there for over 100 years. So I think structurally it's sound. It's just the way it's designed for a YMCA. If you go to Lincoln's Y or go to other Ys, you'll see a big difference, obviously. And some of those communities a little bit more affable than us, so they can do what they have to. But we are going to do what we can to keep the Y, at least the pool, up and operating. And we're going to, Jeff had talked about people that still want their Y memberships, helping them get to other places, possibly at reduced prices to help with that. And we'll do what we can.
All right. We look
Good.
forward to seeing
Great. I'm glad
whatever.
you're on top of it.
Yeah, and looking forward to whatever announcements you can make about it coming up rather quickly. So great. We're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. Sue, time for a second message, please, from the Blackstone Valley Call-in Times.
Good morning again. So, as I keep saying, we are working on the getting back into our building, the construction, and so on. But when you drive by, you don't see much going on that first level. That is where we will be. I'm guessing it's because they're working up, top to bottom. So when I keep telling people that we'll be in there soon, I really have no idea anymore.
Get Chris on the job.
Right. I'm just, I just don't know. I see trucks there. I see, construction going on
So
from the
something's
back.
going on, right?
So I think it's top to bottom,
Yeah.
back to front. So we will be there. I promise you that. I have no idea when.
All
So
right.
if there is anything you need, back editions of the paper, anything at all, give me a call on my cell, 401-487-4136.
All right, Sue, thanks. And more of the Coffee and program coming your way. Comments and questions, especially for the mayor, 766-1240.
When you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island.
Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with Remax Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
All right, it's Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with attorney Bob Lauder. Sue Tessier McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call-in-Times and Woonsocket Mayor Chris Beauchamp is here as well. We'll ask you this question next, Mayor, and I don't know how much you can say about it, if anything, but is there anything to say about movement for a supermarket downtown on Social Street?
There is. It still looks like it's hopefully going to happen. We had discussions with the NSA group, the National Supermarket Association group, yesterday. We're still working out a couple of the details. And again, prior administration had their discussions. I'm having mine. So I'm trying to get caught up to speed on who said what said, and that type of thing. I got to give a lot of credit to Mike D'Ambroise, my planning director, director of planning, I should say. He has done a tremendous job in keeping me up to speed on everything that's gone. His emails, his files, his notes, everything is very precise. And I'll tell you, there's been a lot of brouhaha about Mike D'Ambroise and whether he should stay, go, this or that. I just know one thing. If I didn't have Mike D'Ambroise in the last 3 weeks giving me the information about all the projects that are going on, we'd be in a lot more.
You'd be
hurt.
lost.
I'm telling you, we'd be in a lot more hurt. So I give them a lot of credit. And again, some of the people I know, some of them I don't. So the planning department is looking for grants every day, looking for where we can save money for the city of Woonsocket, what we can do to help businesses come into Woonsocket. And the market deal is one on the top.
Okay.
So I think it's going to move forward.
Can you reveal any ideas to where the market might actually be located?
I think that was already told, but the Rite Aid building on Social Street. The old Rite Aid building.
The empty one.
Next to Sunrise
Creamery?
Bagel Creamery.
Nope. Okay, Bobby, we got World War II
Across from
Park.
Marquette Credit Union.
Yeah.
The old Marquette
And
Credit
there's-
Union.
Then there's the Dunkin' Donuts.
I was waiting for somebody to say that.
Used to be Siegel Oldsmobile.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it used to
great.
be
No. It used to be Mac Buick.
Mac Buick.
Used to be
Mike
Mac-
Hessian.
Yeah, it
Did
was.
he
It
just
was
ask
never.
for- but-
It was never Siegel Olds.
No.
They were down.
It was a car dealership.
but it
You
was,
got
it
that
was
right.
Mac Buick.
Mac Buick.
Now that's B&B
So we're all showing our age here.
Yeah, all right, okay.
But you can't say yet the name of who it might be, can you?
So that association, they deal with markets, from what I understand, all over the country, and it's kind of not a market probably that we all know of, of the name. It's something kind of unique like that, and they look at what Woonsocket has, the demographics. They take in all that stuff, similar to what they did in Providence. I understand there is one in Providence, but I don't have the name of it. But they did bring one to Providence, so I'm very encouraged. We're still trying to iron out the last final details, which I think will get done by the end of this week.
No,
That would be
fantastic.
That would be great for
Another
the
good
people who live in
announcement.
the high rises and
Sure.
don't drive.
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We had a note that was called in, 766-1240. So to the mayor, how is the Cass Park project coming along?
The Cass Park project is coming along. I was there yesterday with the Director of Public Works. We drove through. We had a meeting with the architect and engineer about possibly getting the RFPs out for the field, the building, all the stuff. Hopefully, sometime in March, we'll have those ready and going out to bid. So we're moving along very well. Surplus material we're still selling. I believe
Is there more gravel to
there is more
excavate and
gravel,
sell?
there is more loom.
All right.
I believe when it's all said and done, we'll probably net close to $1 million of money that we can use to build this complex, which is
Great.
great news.
Sure. All right. Glad that they see things moving along there. On another issue, how do things stand with homelessness here in the city of Woonsocket?
That too is, we had a meeting yesterday with Stephen Pryor, the housing czar, I guess, from
Yeah,
the
of
state of
Rhode
Rhode Island, and some of his people. We met at the Woonsocket Education Center there on Main Street, which I got to tell you, that's a gem. Haven't been in there until recently. They have meeting rooms, everybody can get there, and it's unbelievable. But we are doing some things maybe a little bit different from the prior administration. My whole goal is to include as many people, conversation-wise, ideas, whatever, opinions, get them in the room. We make decisions based on what's the best for the city of Woonsocket, not what's in the best interest of the mayor or council people. So I'm doing things the way I feel it should be done, and I'm not discrediting what was done in the past. So we are having some very good dialogue about homeless encampments, what we can do, how we can make things improve. We've had a talk with Providence and Worcester Railroad because there's some encampments underneath the railroad where the Polar Express, where the train sits on Clinton Street. That will be taken care of by P&W Railroad. I believe it's next Thursday, the 14th, where they're going to clean everything up. I understand that the people that been camping there have been told of this. Community Care Alliance and some other organizations are working with them to find them proper space, and we're going to clean that up, and we're going to move forward.
All right. And talking of the homeless, do you find that some of them either they want help or some don't want help?
Yeah,
Is it just a leave me alone kind of thing?
No, there's a combination of that. I did go on with the former mayor, police chief, governor. We did walk through some of those encampments last year. Earlier this year, back in October, and it was eye-opening. I mean, I've seen them, driven by them, but when you physically get there and see what's happening, it was definitely eye-opening. And again, misinformation or disinformation, if you will. We didn't go in there with, if you will, guns blazing, telling everybody to get out. It was really a fact-finding thing for council people, the governor, myself, and it was very, very low-key. We went in there to say, how can we help? What do you need? And of course, yes, the people were surprised we were there because we didn't announce we were coming.
Right.
But it wasn't a situation that was purported in the paper or purported in the news that we just rustled everybody and told them to get out. Because I won't do that, and I don't want my public safety people to do that unless there's some other things going on, whether it's weapons and drugs and stuff, and that's what they found in one of them, based on people doing something illegal. So we're gonna approach this maybe in a different tone, if you will. But again, none of our residents, none of our people that live in the city should have it on private land, public land. I mean, we got to figure out how to get this situation resolved, and it's not going to be resolved by one party, and that's my main message, right? It's not going to be resolved by the city, Community Care Alliance by itself. It's a collaborative effort, and Councilwoman Gonzalez, the vice president, has a task force every other Tuesday. The people that there were last week, there were no seats at the table. Everybody was there. So more people are getting involved, and that's what you need to do.
What did you find as the conditions in the homeless encampments?
I'm sorry?
What did you find as the conditions?
They were deplorable. So there was garbage everywhere. There was clothes everywhere. And I mean, that shouldn't happen. We actually are having a cleanup that I've kind of orchestrated with some of the homeless advocates that came to our meeting on a council meeting. Again, P&W is cleaning up that one location. We are going to meet on the 16th, a Saturday, 2 weeks from this Saturday. We're going to clean up the one behind, underneath the Court Street Bridge in the Vernon Mills area. We're going to bring some dumpsters provided by the city. We have many volunteers that are coming down, and we're going to clean it up and do the best we can to, my question to the homeless people when we went down there, why would you live in this squalor and filth? Why wouldn't you just kind of clean it up a little bit and kind of take care of your area, if you will? And they agreed. If we had some help, maybe we would do that, and that's what we're doing.
Well, when I drove by the one on Clinton that you're referencing, the P&W, I never noticed that one.
Yeah.
I noticed the garbage. When I drove by, this was just like this weekend, I drove by and I'm like, what? I never noticed the encampment. I noticed all the garbage because now it's running down the hill.
Yeah. And that was the issue we had in a couple of them because the river's very close. So we're doing a communicating, coordinating effort as opposed to just, doing something that may have happened in the past. And I think that's the best way to do it. If you get everybody involved and you tell them what we're doing, the cooperation is like, okay, I didn't realize that the city was going to do that. I want to play a part. And I think it's going to be positive as far as cleaning stuff up.
Did the residents make any reference to why they would be living this way? Was it because of lack of housing or because of a
Housing is the
personal
main
desire?
issue. Bob, housing is the main issue. I've talked to some of the people, and they had jobs, they had a place to stay, but when the rents went up, they couldn't afford where they were. They were still working, but they had no place. We have people that are unhoused, families that are unhoused, and it's a very difficult situation.
The face of homelessness needs to change. It used to be, drugs, alcohol, so on. It's not. It's not that anymore.
Well, that's part of
That's
it.
part of
There's
it,
still,
but
it's not the
just that.
prevailing.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately too many people. I've heard many people say, "Oh, they're all druggies. They're all the." No, they are not. And it kind of infuriates me because I know families that I've provided toys for tots and so on for. That was exactly what he just said.
And there's
Rent
children who live in
increases.
these homeless
Yep,
encampments.
some of them, yes.
There are some, and we do, my Director of Human Services, Director Hool, does a great job in identifying that. When we find them out, we get them hotel rooms through either the city or the state, because no child should be living outside,
Right.
right? And hopefully, with this on everybody's mind, from the governor down to every mayor and town administrator, whatever, if we all kind of put this on the forefront, we'll hopefully get to some resolve coming soon.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. More coming your way. You can call in comments or questions at 766-1240. Time for the weather forecast being brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Partly sunny
Sorry, I
skies
jumped.
today with a high of 36 degrees and a breeze from the west. Tonight, mostly clear, overnight low of 24. Friday's weather sunshine and 44. Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 50. Sunday, showers are 60% likely, mostly cloudy skies, high of 60, but very windy, with wind gusts over 30 miles per hour. Sunday night, even more wind, gale force winds, up to 50 miles per hour, overnight low of 47 Sunday night, and a 100% chance of rain. Monday, leftover showers, 70% likely, more gale force winds in the morning at least, partial sunshine later in the day with a high of 48. Tuesday, sunshine and 42, and next Wednesday, mostly sunny and 43.
Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with cloudy skies. We have 25 degrees. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Information at positivecoach.org.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Smokehouse. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
Hi, I'm Kathy LaValle at The Honey Shop. Check out our Facebook page at The Honey Shop RI, and there you'll see a whole list of our new classes and lots of fun things to do. You could join us for making limoncello, pizzas, pasta making, cheese making, so many fun things to do and learn.
Thanks, Kathy. Folks, if you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop, right behind the Dunkin' Donuts at Park Square in Woonsocket. Introducing Bowling for Milk. Join your friends and neighbors at Walnut Hill Bowling Lanes on Sunday, December 10th from 2 to 5 p.m. for strikes, spares, and maybe a few gutter balls, but plenty of fun at Bowling for Milk. Just $25 gets you 2 strings of bowling and shoe rental, and the milk fun gets half. To add to the fun, we'll have a mini auction for just those in attendance, including an item donated by the New England Patriots. And ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer will be on hand to spin the tunes and sign autographs. The Patriots don't play that week, so join us for Bowling for Milk, Sunday afternoon, December 10th from 2 to 5 p.m. at Walnut Hill Bowl on Diamond Hill Road, Woonsocket. It's a party to help the milk fund.
Lou Mandeville here to tell you the only place to get your local high school and college scores, as well as the Pats, Bruins, Celtics, and Sox is on My Morning Sports Reports. And they are right here on ON 1240, Monday through Friday on the Morning Fun Show.
It is the Coffee and Program on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan. We're here with Woonsocket Mayor Chris Beauchamp, Sue Tessier-McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call and Times, and Attorney Bob Lauder. And Bob, it's time for a first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. I'd like to talk to you this morning about a recent Rhode Island Supreme Court case which involved a parental dispute concerning COVID-19 vaccines for their pre-adolescent children. The case is known as Nagel versus Nagel, and it was decided in May of this year. In the Nagel case, the father and mother were divorced and had entered into a property settlement agreement which provided, in part, that neither party shall unreasonably withhold his or her consent to medical treatment for the children or the administration of medicine recommended by pediatrician for the children. When the parents could not agree upon the issue of vaccinating the children against COVID-19 virus, one of the parents petitioned the family court for an order to compel the administration of the vaccines. The other party objected. The trial judge reviewed the facts and determined that there was a lack of uniformity of expert opinion regarding whether children should receive the COVID-19 vaccine. But the judge acknowledged that the expertise of the American Academy of Pediatricians and the Center for Disease Control recommended the vaccines. The judge ruled that although there was opposition by one of the parties and the opposition was reasonable, it was in the best interest of the children to order the administration of the vaccines. Upon appeal to the Supreme Court, the parent in opposition argued that if the trial judge determined it was reasonable to be in opposition, the parent had not violated the terms of the property settlement agreement in withholding the reasonable treatment. For the judge to impose the obligation of vaccine constituted a rewriting of the agreement. The Supreme Court disagreed. The court noted that the trial judge had reviewed the testimony of the children's treating physician and determined that the absence of underlying medical conditions which posed a risk to the receipt of the vaccine, and it was in the best interest of the children to allow one of the parents to have the children vaccinated. The action of the trial judge was not rewriting of the agreement, but rather protecting the best interest of the children. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. We did get a note that was called in. Maybe this will help you out, Bob. Where the supermarket they talk about on Social Street.
Yes.
It's at the corner of Social and Pond.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes,
You get
it
your
does.
geography in place now?
Yes.
All right.
You're right. It was the old Mack Buick.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. Now you had a question
I did.
relating to homelessness for the mayor.
Yes, Your Honor. Back in the 1950s, when I was a kid, the Woonsocket Housing Authority constructed the housing up at Borden Boulevard in Murren Heights. And it was probably, and among other things, for the veterans coming back from World War II and to have a place for them to live. Then in the 60s, they constructed the high-rises for the elderly. But the Housing Authority hasn't constructed any new structures since then. And is there any way that the Housing Authority could become enabled to start trying to construct more housing for people so that we don't have the housing shortage we have now, which results in people living in homeless encampments?
Great point, Bob. You know, as we started this task force with Councilwoman Vice President Valerie Gonzalez, the Woonsocket Housing Authority has since come on board to the task force with their information, concerns, ideas, if you will. And I don't think that specifically has been addressed as far as building new homes, but it's something that should be addressed, and I think you're right. The point of the Housing Authority being a partner in all this is that, again, as I said earlier, I think off air, that, you know, apartments become available. With people that are homeless, they are eligible or could be eligible to live in those apartments. And so we have to make sure that every partner that is in the city helps us fight this homelessness issue, and them being on board and being at the task force meeting, I think was a positive step.
Great. Good.
Okay, kind of on the same subject, Mayor. Have you run into a situation where we've all heard the stories about the migrants coming to all the different states? Has anyone contacted you and said, Mayor, we're driving a bus up here, and now they're your problem?
Nobody's contacted me, but we did speak about it yesterday with Stephen Pryor, Director Pryor. And to our surprise, he said that Rhode Island is not experiencing what other nearby states like Massachusetts are. Knock on wood, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll approach that if it happens and go from there. But it doesn't seem to be a problem at this time.
Well,
So that's
one less thing to worry about.
positive, I guess, in that direction.
All right. Another story that was in the news, and it goes back to the kind of like the baseball field with McCoy Stadium. There's another businessman that wants to wants the state to kick in $18 million and build a baseball stadium at Rhode Island College, bring in a draft league team, which is a kind of a combination of amateur and pro baseball. And when I mentioned it to a couple of state reps, and one of them said, "Why don't we put it at Barry Field?" I said, "Well, okay. I don't think it's going to be $18 million if you put it at Barry Field, but."
I read that article. It was intriguing.
Yeah.
I'm a basketball guy, not so much a baseball guy. But I thought the gentleman that was proposing it, I forget his name at this minute, but
Art Solomon is his
Solomon, yeah. He's been in baseball all his life.
Yes.
He owns or did own some minor league teams.
Still does.
Still does. And I think the relationship with Rhode Island College was the big thing there.
Yes.
So, you know, Barry Field's Barry Field, but I think when I read the article, it seemed to make all the sense to do that relationship with a college where they can recruit, see people, and I think that was a great
Okay.
thing to have it there.
I'd also question whether
Yeah.
or not there'd be enough parking in the Barry Field area. And,
Oh, that's always an issue. Yeah.
well, yeah, because you expect people would attend the baseball games, and
If you
unless
look-
they can park on Barry Field itself, there's really limited public parking in that area.
See, I'm so lousy at this spatial relationship stuff. They wanted to put in a 3,500 seat stadium at Rhode Island College.
Okay.
Could Barry Field fit a 3,500 seat stadium and have parking for 3,000 cars?
It could, in my construction field kind of knowledge, it definitely could.
Okay.
But, you know, everything would have to come down and obviously start again.
Yes.
The problem with Barry Field is, as we all know, is there's the covenants on there that the school committee and school have to deal with anything that happens there, and we'll approach that down the road.
Has anything moved forward with Barry Field? And
Nothing
What to
as
do
of
with it?
yet. I don't think that's on the top of the totem pole, if you will, in my things right now. I got a lot of other things that I think are pressing, as we mentioned earlier, the market, the homelessness,
Yeah.
Cass Park Recreational Complex.
the why?
The why.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm dealing with things right now that I think are more pressing, if you will, but Barry Field's an important aspect of what happens in the future here in Woonsocket, and when the time comes, we'll deal with it.
All right. We're going to take another break on the Coffee and program and get back on track here. So we're going to get a second message from attorney Bob Lauder. Please, Bob.
Thank you. Good morning. The second recent Rhode Island Supreme Court case I'd like to discuss with you this morning involves a challenge to the specificity of a criminal statute. The case is known as State versus Voice. Over a period of several years, local police had responded to calls from neighbors and shopkeepers in an area surrounding the home of an elderly woman, alleging that she was exhibiting signs of confusion, wandering, and appeared to be disoriented. The police investigation revealed that the woman was living with her son, that she was poorly clad and had not been eating properly, that her home was in a disorderly state with garbage and open bags of food throughout and urine-soaked newspapers on the floor. When the police attempted to discuss the condition with her son, he allegedly became belligerent and told the police to stop bothering his mother. Approximately a year after the first contact, the son was charged with neglecting an adult with severe impairments, a violation of Section 11.5.12 of the General Laws of the State of Rhode Island. After a trial in which the son was found guilty, he filed an appeal with the Rhode Island Supreme Court. The son argued that the statute under which he was charged did not properly define the term services necessary to maintain the physical or mental health, and it did not properly notify a potential criminal defendant what specific conduct is prescribed, and those phrases were an absolute element to the statute. The Supreme Court ruled that a penal statute must contain a description or a definition of the act or conduct which compromises the offense, and that so long as a statute is constitutionally specific, the court will not consider a defendant's partial vagueness challenge. The court ruled that when determining whether or not a statute is unconstitutionally vague, the standard employed is whether the disputed verbiage provides adequate warning to a person of ordinary intelligence that his conduct is illegal. In the present case, where the statute declares that a primary caregiver who shall willfully and knowingly abuse, neglect, or exploit an adult with severe impairments should be subject to outline the penalties contained in the Act. The common definition of the term negligent is sufficient to provide adequate warning to a person of ordinary intelligence that the conduct is illegal by common understanding and practice. The defendant then argued that the issue as to whether or not his mother suffered from severe impairment could only be determined by a jury after hearing testimony from an expert. The Supreme Court ruled that while a jury may benefit from the expert testimony, that in this particular instance, the expert testimony was not required when the facts and the circumstances could be accurately described to a jury and the jury is capable of comprehending and understanding such facts and drawing correct conclusions from that, as is the expert. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. The disclaimer: the Rhode Island Supreme Court licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thanks. Coffee and program will continue right here on ON Radio.
It's December, one of the busiest times of the year. Why not take a break from shopping and all the other things you want to do to sit back, relax, and savor the Polynesian delicacies and all those great tastes at Chan's. 267 Main Street in Woonsocket. John Chan wishes you a stress-free Christmas season. But if you can't have that, come on in and take the edge off the stress with a great meal at Chan's, where you can have your scorpion bowls or your, oh my goodness, all kinds of drinks and things that will kind of relax you. In moderation, of course, and all those great foods with all the different special combination dinners and all your favorites for so many, many years. It's always great when you go to Chan's, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket. And keep in mind, Chan's can cater your gathering.
You have until December 20th to order those incredible desserts you can only get from Phantom Farms for Christmas. Stop in or go online today, phantomfarms.com, and fill out the order form for pies, pastries, cookies and breads, and cakes and cupcakes. You can even build your own platter. Keep your receipt for pickup and then schedule your pickup time. And remember, You only have until Christmas Eve at noon to pick up your order. Merry Christmas from Phantom Farms, 2920 Diamond Hill Road, Cumberland.
Times change, but the great traditions of the Christmas season return each year. This is Attorney Peter Hopkins extending my best wishes to you and your family. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and please remember to support the Milk Fund. My office is located at 191 Social Street in Woonsocket. If you need our services, please call 356-1043. We are a full-service law office where everyone is treated with dignity and respect.
Christmas in New York. The Northern Rhode Island Council of the Arts is hosting a bus trip to New York City on Saturday, December 16th. We'll get you to New York, and the day is yours. See the sights, visit a museum, see a show, whatever you like. The day is yours. Tickets are $90, and the bus will leave from the St. Anne Arts and Cultural Center parking lot at 5:30 a.m. For more information or to reserve your seats, email nrica@nrica.org or call Sharon at 401-767-7432.
Okay, it is Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Bob Lauder's here, Sue Tessier McKenzie's here, and Chris Beauchamp, Mayor of the City of Woonsocket, is here as well. I have a couple of questions for Bob. Well, Judge Caprio, it's not really a question.
I saw that in the paper.
About
That's
his cancer diagnosis. And
Yeah.
Have you ever had any dealings with him? Not on his
No, I
TV
haven't.
show, but just in...
No, I've never done
through your
a
court?
case in traffic court down in Providence.
No?
No.
Okay.
I've seen the program, and he seems to be a very good judge and compassionate.
Very genuine, huh?
Yeah,
That's too bad.
it is.
So I wanted to ask Bob this question as well, because we had the story at the beginning of the week. There's 11 firefighters that are suing the city of Pawtucket. Something else you don't have to worry about, Chris. And because they're suing the fire chief, they're suing the city, and they're suing a police officer for an illegal search of their lockers at the fire station. And so, Bob, when it comes down to a search warrant, how specific is the search warrant? Because according to the story, it says they had a search warrant to search a former firefighter's car, but then they went into the station and searched 11 lockers looking for guns and ammunition. So what does the search warrant say?
A search warrant usually gives specificity as to where you can make the actual search. In this case, if the search warrant said they could search a vehicle of an individual, and then they went into the police station and decided to, or the fire station rather, and decided to just search lockers at random, I would think that they're in trouble.
Okay.
I think they've exceeded the elements of the search warrant.
All right.
Because they were actually looking for specific
Something
elements
specific.
of some type of crime.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now, it always comes down to, if you're the firefighter and you've been assigned a locker at the fire station, is it yours?
You have control over it. Usually you have
Well,
a
what
lock
about-
to it.
Okay,
and,
but what about the fire chief? Does he or she have complete control over it? And if the fire chief gives permission to the police, go ahead and look through all the lockers, is that okay? Or is that against the law too?
I would think it would start off with the presumption of what the firemen themselves are able to control in the lockers. If you're saying to a fireman, here's a locker, you have a key to it, it's yours, and you can store your equipment in it or whatever, then I would
Personal stuff
believe
too, yeah.
that for the chief, under those circumstances, to have a general search and say, we're looking for contraband, I think is a problem.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
Well, all right, so they're being sued. And it looks like, according to Bob, they have a pretty good case. Did you hear about this, Sue? That these
No, but
firefighters-
that would also apply to a desk. If I have a desk,
Yeah.
does that give it's the same thing? Say I
Is
have
it the same thing, Bob? Can they go
a
through
desk or a locker. If it's my desk,
I think it depends on the caliber or the parameters for which you have allowed someone to use this particular equipment. If you're saying it's locked and you have the only control over it, then I would believe that it was yours and you'd have to have a search warrant for it. A desk in a office in a common area, again, I would think it would be what kind of control does the individual have over the desk?
Yeah. All right. I just wonder, did the fire chief tell the police officer, I'm giving you permission to go ahead and open up the lockers? So
Right.
go ahead. Or I'm going to open them for you. I have a master key or something like that. Which is why maybe he's being sued.
I don't know what the fire chief may have said, but
Well, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but crazy story, huh?
unusual.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, Chris, back to you. We had the Winter Wonderland and the Holiday Stroll the last weekend. Things went relatively smooth, except for one little incident that took place on Main Street.
It did.
Luckily, that was a false alarm. No?
Wait, did this involve you again?
Not at all. I wasn't there. You can't blame me.
It did. The weather was somewhat mild, if you will, as
Yeah.
opposed to past years. I get a little funny story. I was supposed to ride on the fire truck with Santa, as the mayor usually does, but I didn't know where I was supposed to be, so I caught it like at the last 100 feet. But hey, being new, you're kind of feeling out everything. So,
Yeah.
but it was interesting. But I just want to commend both the Downtown Collaborative, the Winter Wonderland done by the city, Liz Kerrigan, our park superintendent. She did a tremendous job, as did all Public Works people. I mean, both events, they kind of commingle, and to me, that's the way it should be. Maybe in the future we just have one big event. I don't know. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
But it seemed to go very well. There were a lot of people there. So I thought it went well. I went up and down Main Street, and I enjoyed it.
All right. Now, the incident we're talking about happened right across the street from the call.
Yep.
A suspicious package was left unattended, so they cleared out the parking lot. So who makes the decision that all right, this is not a dangerous situation, whatever was left?
Well, I talked to, obviously the police and the fire, but I think Rep. Steve Casey, who's a fireman,
Right.
who is running the downtown collaborative efforts and helping with that, he was the one that made the call to fire personnel and got people down there because they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But from what my understanding is, once they it was an open bag, it was kind of pretty accessible to see what was in it.
Yep.
They did bring the canine down to do his thing, and so it was kind of pretty quick that they determined that it wasn't something that was going to be dangerous, and it went pretty well, although we had to close that area, I think, for about a half hour or so. So it was a little bit of disruption, and but they handled it well, and we got back to business with the Winter Wonderland and the stroll.
All right. So speaking of it being winter and all like that, how is your winter snow preparedness ready to go for this coming
Well,
season?
we got Director D'Agostino, who I've worked with for over 35, 40, almost 40 years in the construction business. He does a tremendous job directing the public works and the snow plowing efforts. I mean, there was one time I plowed for the city of Woonsocket as just a resident, and it was a difficult situation. The trucks always would break down. They wouldn't go up the hills because they didn't have the power to do it. It was a disaster. So we're in very good shape. They're very well prepared. We have the brine that we use now, which we didn't have many years, as we all know. And it's the city of Woonsocket is probably one of the best plowed municipalities that I know of.
So
They do a great job. Everything's in good shape.
All right. And other things going on in the city, I've noticed a couple of times. I'm trying to figure out what road I'm on. Going up.
Name something on it.
Where Krakow Deli is.
Social Street.
Social Street. Going up that way. They've closed down parts of that street. And I've seen the police there with the flashing lights. What are they doing there?
It's probably gas company work. They're doing the same thing in the north end over on Blackstone Street, Harris Avenue, replacing old cast iron lines with new plastic lines.
Okay.
So I think that's what's going on there, but I'm not 100% sure. Another update I'll give you real quick is they're building a new wall down on across from Yield English Fish and Chips on River Street where the boat launch used to be. That's what's going on there now. They're building a new wall because we just had a kind of a stockade fence that wasn't much of a barrier in case somebody ever drove down there or whatever. That should be completed, I think, in another week to 2 weeks or so. Got a late start on that, but it's a new cobblestone faced wall, so it'll be a nice addition to that area.
All right. A couple of good things going on in the city, at least I think they're good things, is Family Discount Furniture going to move into a new place, triple their size, take over that building that wasn't really doing much, but
it was disturbing a lot of neighbors because the tractor trailers would be coming in and out of the back of that property.
Yeah.
We're talking on Wood Avenue.
Yeah.
So that is a positive. I did meet the owner of the furniture store recently. I had never met him.
Okay.
Nice gentleman. I met him at Winter Wonderland, as a
Brad
matter
and
of fact.
Ryan, okay.
Yeah. So they're very happy, and it's positive that they're moving into that building, and I think it's going to be a great location for them.
And the other is the new owners of River Falls Restaurant, who
Yes.
just reopened
I
Tuesday.
think they're open this week,
Yep.
and I haven't been there yet, although my wife and her girlfriend did go there, and they
What'd you
enjoyed
think?
it.
Yeah.
So it's great to have that restaurant in the city again, open, and another place for people to go.
And they were only closed for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think it was about
Yeah, it was
3
pretty
weeks.
quick.
Yeah.
It was fairly
It was a
quick.
quick turnover.
That's great. All right, we've come to the end of the program, so we thank you very much for listening in. Mayor Chris Beauchamp, thanks for coming in. It's your first time on as mayor.
I
So
appreciate it.
Everything go okay?
Sue Golan, my secretary, who stayed on, by the way,
Yeah.
is unbelievable. She gives me a calendar, and thank God she updates me because I'm in a million places, but it's all good.
All right, great. Sue Tessier McKenzie, thanks for coming in as well.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.
All right, and Attorney Bob Lauder.
Always good to see you.
That
Thank
Trump
you
hat
very
is-
much.
That Trump hat is coming, by the way.
Ooh.
So what would have been great is if you had done it, I would have snapped a picture of
Oh,
it.
I know that.
And it would have made social media.
Although there was a great picture of
Bob
you
Lauder
on
goes
social
viral.
media. All you and Dave and
Yes,
Melissa Murray.
and Dave the bartender at
Yes, that was really good.
At the Vets. That went very well. All right, this is Joe Callahan. Have yourself a great day, everyone. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do your remembers at 9:30 here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. $1.6 billion in federal funding is being sought to replace the nearly 90-year-old Sagamore Bridge over the Cape Cod Canal. The State Department of Transportation and the U.S. Army